scene. Well, they say it's spring forward and fall back. And in Europe, we're falling back. For the drivers, they're looking to spring forward. Jack David Spickett with his first win in a year last time out. And Toga Hizada, he needs to spring forward after another poor result for his standards. We're at the halfway stage of the season, and there's only one place to go. The classic Gilles Villeneuve circuit here in Canada, here on the Global Sim Racing channel and iRacing for the Lotus 79s. I am Craig King with Joey Atterbury, and of course it is, Christian Duploy in the director's chair with Dougie Beard providing cameras. Joey, halfway stage, still a lot to play for, but this is the track where it can all be won or lost.
Yeah, this is a track that drivers either love or they hate it because those walls are so close to the circuit and you have so many chicanes that you got to be able to put the power down. It is an aggressive circuit, and we're going to see how the drivers treat it today.
So it's a track of many chicanes and many history, but for more information, let's go to Joe Peak for our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Host of the Canadian Grand Prix for over 40 years, this track's popularity among fans refuses to wane. Although it has gone through a few alterations in its history, the nature of its layout has remained pretty much the same. That nature, of course, is that its 14 turns are mostly chicanes, split up by long straights to add up to a 2.7-mile street course-like canyon of a track. These 4.3 kilometers are mainly made up of actual streets on the man-made Ile Notre Dame, though portions are specifically built for the racetrack. But whether or not fans consider it a true street course, the close barriers that line the majority of the track don't care what you think. Places like the exit of Turn 4 and Turn 9 frequently collect the greedy. But these pale in infamy to the notorious Wall of Champions. Named for its penchant to collect F1 World Champions, the corner itself is called Quebec. Regardless, it's a finicky and tight chicane with a critical corner exit, so drivers are tempted into edging the car as close as they dare to the concrete. Despite the numerous heavy braking zones, passing can be difficult at times for certain types of cars. Often, attrition or cut course penalties play a bigger part in who finishes where. While sports cars and NASCAR have both made stops here, this place is mainly known for its history with Formula One. Named after what is easily Canada's most popular driver in the International Open Wheel Series, this semi-temporary circuit looks like it's actually here to stay for a long, long time.
Well, it looks like a very flat track, but it's a very technical track. And like Joey, you said, a lot of chicanes around here, each one more dangerous than the other.
Yeah, 2.71 miles is what makes up this. Call it 14-turn facility just north of the border here in the States. Of course, it is on the other side of the border in Canada. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Lots of chicanes, lots of straightaways. I consider it a stop and start type of circuit. Lots of straightaways that lead into big-time break zones, so you got lots of passing opportunities, right? However, you have to be able to put the power down after those slow chicanes, which can be a little bit tedious in these Lotus 79 cars. Remember, they've got tremendous aerodynamic grip, huge tires, but when you go really, really slow in these things, you kind of have to tiptoe around some sections. Look towards turn number 10, that hairpin. That is always a doozy of a corner, whether it's lockups going in or trying to put the power down at a not so straight exit to lead you down that casino straight. The longest straightaway that we've got, and then turn number 14, the last chicane, the Wall of Champions. How fast can you go through that chicane with flirting with that exit wall?
Yeah, I wonder if we do actually see some of the former champions hit that wall Going to be very interesting to see, but apologies. Let's go to the championship standings, because as I did mention, very interesting at the top now. Pauli Partanen having a big lead over Togo Hisada, but drop weeks will start to be affected, and Togo has had 2 poor results in for his standards last 2 weeks. But Jack David Spickett back on the top of the podium for the first time in over a year. Really needed that in that battle with Oya Samaola, who was not around last week at Willow Springs. Just trying to look if I can see him at the moment. Not seeing him at the moment, but Jacob Reed also making a lunge up for that top 3 positions. And then you see Gabriel Martinez bringing up the back of the top 10 with Topi Kortenemi just in 9th. The F2 standings, very interesting, because the championship leader was not here last week, Joey.
Yeah, and of course, it's only separated by the driver's iRating. Right now, it is Josephine Becker with a healthy lead, 109 points over David Riccardi. And then Bjorn Ackerman, the Unicorn Machine, a narrow 5 points ahead of Martin Reisman here in 4th place. Thomas Tuba in 5th, a single point ahead of Jason Krakowiak, given chase there in 6th place. Then we also have Kurt Clapper in 7th. The Big Cat, Barry West, sitting here in 8th. Diaz in 9th. And Robert Simpkins rounding out our top 10 in that F2 Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, we also do have, of course, the Team Championship, which, if you don't know the series, you can join in with the teams by registering your interest on the forums or the community Discord. TVR Racing, the Lightning Purple of Dylan Freckleton leads the way, with Barry West and Miguel Morland just behind them for Marlboro Team Alfa Romeo. Fittipaldi Automotive, kind of fitting. Fittipaldi didn't win around here, sorry, was in 3rd. Parlavati will be in 4th, and a lot of those names that you will see today are in this race, and they will be loving some of the Team Championship. Northern Winter Racing just rounding out the top 10, and your name could be here should you want to do it, and your name could be here for the next few weeks. But Joey, it's round 6 today. Why don't you tell the drivers and the fans exactly what we're expecting?
I tell you what, they got to be pretty fast if they want to be up on top of these points championships. But today, the race details, you had said it earlier, we're halfway through this one in terms of the season. 25 laps is what the drivers are going to have to do. An open setup as always. So if you don't like the way the car is driving, you can open up that garage tab and tweak and tune on it. Also, go join the community, join the Discord. They love handing out those fast setups. So if you're not good at building a setup, don't be scared about this series. Go join everybody and they will provide you something fast to drive. No spare car, so that means if you pick up any damage by running into walls or running into your competitors, you're going to have to deal with it out there. And then, of course, the incident point limits, 15 and 25 incident points for those penalties.
Yeah, we shouldn't be seeing that today on a wonderful day here. And technically, Gilles Villeneuve is actually a street circuit. I know it doesn't look it, but trust me, you can actually look around the track on Google Maps, and when you look at Google Street View, you actually see what the drivers actually drive around it. But older layout here, and this is what I love about the first corner here. Togo Hisada with 3 minutes to go, currently leading, but this is Jacob Reed. This is probably the only elevation change you will see out there today at that first chicane section there in 3 and 4, and then down. And that little kink going turn 5 into turn 6 and 7 is so treacherous, because for any other car, you're looking for a little bit more of a bit of space there, and there isn't for you, Joe.
No, and I had mentioned that these cars, they have a tremendous amount of grip, right? But really where their grip comes in is, call it more medium speed to high speed corners. Yes, they do have these giant tires on them, but look at how little itty bitty the front tires are in comparison to the back tires, and they do need a good amount of temperature to provide that grip. So when we talk about this track, these slow corners, like you were mentioning, turn 5, coming out onto that kind of short shoot straightaway, you want the aerodynamic grip. It's not fast enough in terms of the speed, so the drivers really have to modulate all that horsepower they got behind them.
Jacob Reed is no stranger to this with his F1 GP World Tour Championship. Today he's looking for a good time. Different kettle of fish. A different kettle of fish allows him to go P2 up there today for Jacob Reed. And now Dylan Freckleton, we were just looking at him, technically leading the team's championship is Dylan. Not a good qualifying so far. He's probably going to be the last at the time qualified to set a lap. Antonio Alvarez still out there as well. Jack David Spickett did report, I can't believe we're saying this, the winner of the last race, Joey, he hit the wall of champions.
Yeah, it's quite common out there, but I think the bigger question mark that I've got, and it's really a question for you, Craig. When's the last time you saw Pauli Partanen not inside the top 3 in qualifying?
Honestly, it has been this season, and it may not even be the top 4 if Dylan Freckleton gets a good lap out here, but he just can't. He does go up to 12. Antonio Alvarez, the last of the drivers there. Yeah, it's actually been a while, Joey, but he has had to make some fights to try and get up the order. The key thing here is the last time these two fought, and I know it was you on the comms that day, Partanen and Hesada had a bit of a battle. Partanen had a network issue, and that caused him some damage.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you remember it better than I do. But yeah, I think that with the drafting today, the open setups, as we always see, it's more like a chess game, right, than a checkers game. You think, oh, an open setup, everybody is in the exact same stuff. But when you get up here inside the top 5, it's those minuscule setup changes. Do you have a little bit less ride height in the back to maybe go half a mile an hour, 1 mile an hour faster? Can you tweak out that wing just to lay it down just a little bit so you've got an advantage on these hugely long straightaways that if you are leading, the other drivers can't actually draft up behind you and pass you? I think that's the game that we're going to be watching here today.
Well, the game we're going to be watching is iRacing. It's Gilles Villeneuve, Lotus 79s. And as they get ready to start, the 33 cars are getting ready for the grid. And I can report, of course, it's Toga Hesada, who is Ichiban for qualifying. He'll start alongside Jacob Reed. And then Topi Kortanemi, the car number 3, will be in 3rd, with Pauli Partanen in 4th. Jack David Spickett, a champion, hit the wall of champions. He'll be in 5th. Timothy Reed will be 6th, with Henry Morse in 7th. Kartik Pai will take 8th. JPW Ringwood making his debut into the series at 9th. Sean Langton will be 10th.
Gabri Martinez is going to be starting out in 11th with Dylan Freckleton next to him in 12th. Aaron Blair back here in 13th. Kevin Parrish in 14th. Mickey Friesen and Andrew Petty share row number 8. Jean-Francois Boscus in 17th with Simon Steinbild in 18th. Kurt Clapper in 19th and Josh Brain rounding out your top 20.
And Jason Kraviak will be in 21st. Daniel Gallus will take 22nd. Then Jake William will be 23rd with Jason Green in 24th. Matthew Cockerham will be 25th and the legend Barry West will be 26th. Keith Herner will take 27th. Antonio Alvarez 28th. Not 29th for Gunnar Friesen, not a time we were expecting. Art Cars will be 30th, and I'll just run off the last 3 because Thomas Tuber, last of the time, qualifies in 31st. Jason Clapper Special at 32nd with no qualifying. Nicholas Johnson is 33rd with no qualifying for the 33 cars. And they're all getting ready, and I always know Pauli Partanen is the last man to get on to the grid. And yeah, I hear the laugh from Joey. He knows it. I think Pauli actually waits for us.
Well, all the cool kids show up to the party late. That's all Pauli Partanen is doing.
It's a Pauli Partanen world, and we're just waiting for it today. Going to be very interesting to see what he can do. And if you're looking for the win today as he gets ready, it's going to be a little bit windy, but we'll get to that later because it's not so as windy as it was last week. In fact, it's barely 10 miles an hour there, so that's going to be helpful for them. But it's going to be 25 laps as they start to rev up the engine. The short run down to Virage Senna. It's green flag, and it's a good start for Toga Hesada. It's a great start right behind for Topi Kortanemi. Not what you want to see for Jacob Reed. Pauli Partanen trying to get a move, and the 2 leaders go off and straight away, and they're going to take a slowdown. Everything is bunching up. Jacob Reed has to take a slowdown. Toga Hesada leads, and Pauli Partanen's right behind him.
Yeah, Hesada, Partanen, Reed, and Spickett. That is your top 4 as we go through. That was Dylan Freckleton, the purple car, spinning around in that 3-4 chicane. But Togo Hesada is loving what he's seeing in his rear view mirror. Just a single car, and they are trying to break away from the rest of the pack.
And they will be breaking away from the rest of the pack because Jacob Reed had another slowdown. So he's lost a bit of time, and he's got Jack David Spickett right behind him. But these are the 2 leaders, and you wouldn't want it any other way. Another moment on the iRacing highlight channel. Now that's what happened this week for these 2. Are they going to create some more magic? Who knows? Early doors. 25 laps, remember. It's almost a 90-second lap around here. They've got a lot of time to think about this and a lot of time to wait.
And just to kind of recap where our top 4 are actually sitting right now, remember Topi Kortuniemi started in 3rd place. He fell all the way back to 8th. I went back and looked at that start. I thought that there was plenty of room given between Jacob Reed and Topi Kortuniemi, but Craig, you as well as I know that sometimes with how fast these cars are, there can be a little bit of netcode contact. I think that's what pushed Topi off the racetrack.
Oh, might have just done that. Sean Langton trying to get a little bit of a move on in the background. Nicholas Johnson comes into the pits there, so we did miss that, but Sean Langton up in 13th position with a really good mood on Simon Steinbeld, trying to work his way back up the field because he's not had the best start, down 3 positions. The biggest mover so far, well, there's 3 of them. It's Simon Steinbeld, it's Daniel Gallis, it's Jason Green, and let's throw in Matthew Cockham up 4 places. Art Karts in the background also picking up 6. But look at the train of cars, and this is where it gets dangerous right now, Joey. Not a lot of places to make some moves. Andrew Petty finds a move, though, straight there with a good overtake into turn 4.
Nice job there from Andrew in that number 13 car. I know that he was having a couple issues yesterday in the IMSA Vintage race just with that FPS issue, so good to see him out here in these 79s and working his way forward already here. As I think I see directly in front of him. Yeah, I think that was Sean Langton. We're going to go 3 wide down into this turn number 10 hairpin. I think one of these cars smartly backed out of it, but I think it all started with the number 12 car, maybe just a little bit slow, and now Steinbeld a little bit choked up on the exit. Look at all these cars trying to put the power down.
Yeah, I think it was also almost a mischief there from one of those cars. Didn't see which one it was, but now Langton's going to have to try and go around the outside. But while that's happening, Togo Hisada is actually lost the lead to Pauli Partanen. Did miss that. That's a change. And this is something that, well, Togo will be happy with because they know that they're quick to one another. But that purple name at the top is one they don't want to see. All of a sudden, Jack David Spickett, I don't know if he's been touching the miracle water or the fountain of youth. He's found that old pace of his. And last time he was driving fast, he said he was a man possessed. I don't think he's possessed anymore. I think he's in full control.
Well, and the pass happened down in that 13-14 chicane by the Wall of Champions, or at least I think that's where it happened. And I'm actually not sure about how happy Togo is about that pass because they had about a 1.2, 1.3 second lead on 3rd place. And because they went side by side, it slowed them both up in terms of that lap time. And all of a sudden, that slipstream break is now gone. Jack David Spickett as well as Jacob Reed have now made it a 4-car train for the fight. And honestly, don't count out that number 8 car either. Henry Morse, he's the one that's trying to break that slipstream gap as well, 1.5 seconds back. But if the top 4 decide to battle once again, it's going to be a lot more than a top 4. It's going to be more like a top 8.
Well, last night in the iRacing F4 Championship, I thought I heard Henry Morse driving, but it was a Henry Moore. But we've got the real deal here today. It's Henry Morse right behind, and he's trying to hold this battle. And he's also battling Kartik Pai. This is the replay of Dylan Freckleton early doors in the picture-in-picture. Yeah, just trying to turn into a corner there. Remember that first chicane at turn 3 and 4? You do go a little bit down, and I think that may have been what happened. Just there, just a little bit of an issue there. Topi Kortuniemi now moving up through Kartik Pai as he goes up the order. But this is big right now. You said, Joey, when was the last time Pauli Partanen wasn't in the top for front row? Well, he started 4th and he was in the lead literally 3 laps time. So I think he doesn't matter where he starts.
I always love having a good banter with Pauli out there, and even when he's not racing, he's watching the stream as Gernot Friesche almost got rear-ended right there from one of those cars directly behind. That might have been Barry West avoiding that contact back there. But back to my point about Pauli Partanen, I think he probably was listening to us pre-race and said, all right, I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm going to go up there and snag the lead away.
Someone who has lost the position, Henry Morse, made a issue and went off at one of the chicanes. I think it was the 3rd chicane at 8 and 9, losing out to this pack at the front. Here's Simon Steinfeld trying to make some more moves and almost getting the nose cut off. And, well, he's not a champion, but he's the first victim of the Wall of Champions. Actually, he didn't even...
Well, yeah, I was going to say.
Does that count?
No.
I don't think it does.
No, it doesn't. The Wall of Champions is further down.
Yeah, I would say it's where the rubber markings is, the red and white rubber tyre barrier. I think that is what we call the Wall of Champions. But yeah, just having a bit of a spin and just losing out now. And these 4 all bunched up together. And they've had a 1/4 of a 5th of the race gone right now. if you're Toga Hisada, are you worried? If you're Jacob Reed, are you worried? If you're Jack David Spickett, are you happy?
None of the above. I don't think that anybody is happy. I think that everybody's worried. And remember how I was talking about Henry Morse? Now, you politely pointed out that he made a little bit of a mistake, but what it did was free up Topi Kortuniaimi. And remember, he was our third-place car in qualifying. So can the number 3 car that's got now a 3-second gap between himself and 4th place, the man that we're riding on board right now, Jack David Spickett. I actually think we're going to get the replay here. Look at the top right of the screen. That was just him. Okay, yeah, it already happened down there in that chicane, but Topi already took out 4/10 down there into that brake zone. So, can the number 3 car catch this lead 4-pack? If the lead 4-pack does not fight, if they stay single file, it's going to be really tough for Kortuniaimi.
Well, we'll wait and see, because you look at the iRacing numbers here. The number 1, the number 5, the number 2, and the number 9 car are all in the top 4. And one of these doesn't sound like the other, with no offense to Jack David Spickett, but these 3 are battling. And look at the defensive line that Togo has to make. Now, these drivers know each other a lot, not just from this. Pally Parton is probably the only driver here that doesn't race any of the other historic races that are on the weekend. That's the Lotus 49s, that's the IMSA Vintage. Togo dips in to the IMSA Vintage, but races a lot of the set of the 49s, or used to. Jacob Reed, he does whatever he wants. He is now getting that status of alien, and Jack David Spickett does it. They all know each other's characteristics, and that's great. But then you just basically have to know that, okay, are you going to do a wait to make a battle? Because Togo was a little bit defensive there. I was a little bit surprised that early he was getting on the defense for Jacob Reed.
Well, it's all the ebb and flow, right? And you just kind of have to read every single corner as such as, oh, that was the big incident there. Andrew Petty, remember, I had said that he was making such good progress here at the beginning stages. Unfortunately, I think he got kind of punted down there at turn 3 and 4. So very unfortunate there for Andrew. But what I was going to say, every single corner is a little bit different. And when you're a racing car driver, let's just take, if you're Pauli, if you're Togo, if you're Jacob Reed, if you're JDS up front, and you have a bad corner. Let's say if you get out of Wall of Champions poorly, you know that they're going to be creeping up in that mirror. So you kind of have this, call it sixth sense of where these other race cars are, and are they happy with where they are? No, I think they'd be happy if they were all alone with a 10-second lead out front.
Jason and Jason in the picture-in-picture going side by side. It's Jason Clapper in the white car, and in the black car, it's Jason Kreviak. And remember, Jason Clapper likes to do that start from the rear. He likes to just see where he goes. The number now is 10. As he gets past Matthew Cockerham, will be the next man for him. And we're going to be watching them because top 4 are just a little bit quiet at the moment. And you don't blame them for, because they're just pulling ahead of everybody else. They know Topi Kortuniaimi, though, is catching. But here comes Jason Clapper, still trying to make some moves. And I don't know about you, Joey. Starting at the back of a field, it feels like a challenge, but when you've got the pace like Jason, sometimes would it be nice just to see what you could do in the mix with everybody right away?
We always wonder that. Joe Peak and I have these conversations all the time about what if Jason Clapper started? What if he actually qualified the car inside the top 5, inside the top 7, which he actually has the speed to do? Where would he be? But I just don't think it's his style. As we ride on board here with Barry West, the Big Cat, you see him using the virtual reality system as well as the H-pattern shifter. Pretty cool to see. And if you want the immersion factor, that's exactly what Barry has got right there. The best way to describe virtual reality is it's literally like putting the helmet on your head and you're transported inside the cockpit of that race car.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to do that myself. I may get a little bit motion sickness. He's probably just had a moment where he's gone a bit too wide there. And interesting to see that camera angle. Usually we get an over the shoulder so we can see the monitor, so what he's exactly looking at. But he was looking down to the right. He was looking down at the relative, looking down as well. Probably just his mirror as well, just to see where Tuba was. Top 3, top 4 still going, but Jake William is going to get past Barry West, and Barry with a bit of a lockup, going to hold off Keith Herner. We know Barry loves this battling today. High strength for field, 3,948. Real big field for a 33 car, strength for field for a 33 car here, but feels like Barry, it feels like he's overheating the tires. He's overshooting a lot of the corners at the moment.
Certainly could be. As we jump up here to Gernot Frisha, looks like he is continuing his charge. One of our biggest movers plus 10 on the day. Jason Clapper, a couple spots behind, is plus 11 on the day. I think the one thing that Gernot has going for him is that if you look directly up the road here by about a second, he has got 3 cars. That includes Dylan Freckleton, Kurt Clapper, and Jean-Francois Bosquet. So as long as Gernot can continue the lap times that he's doing, call it a 26.1, that's about half a second faster than that group in front of him.
Jake Williams making some moves as well. He's down 4 for the day. He's not had the best of starts, on a little bit of a recovery drive right now. Thomas Tuber just going by. Thomas is going to do a very late lunge into Le Pingle, as they say in France, and almost just slides it out on the throttle. Got a little bit panicky there and got too hot on the throttle. Tried to just see if he could do it, and this could be bad for him. Jake Williams will try to go for this to see if there's any serpentine here for Tuber. There is, and I think he's just accepted his fate. Now, boys, remember, it's a single file, and yep, that's it. Jake Williams, he actually overbroke himself, and they are going to go side by side for the chicane. And I'll tell you what, whoa, Jake Williams, what a move there. That was accidental. Great respect by everyone as Barry West had to take the off track.
You're right. I think that Jake kind of lifted off early, and then he realized how much Thomas Tuba was leaving in the brake zone, so he said, okay, let's give another second jab at this thing, and it worked out for Jake Williams. So nice job on that pass, move him up to 27th, and really unfortunate for Thomas Tuba. Now he actually lost 28th to Simon Steinbild, so move Simon up into that spot.
Yeah, he tried to get on the throttle hot as well, coming out of the virage center and made a mistake. Now, the top 4, it's been interesting to see Partanen make the serpentine early doors here. He's a little bit worried about Togo, and I think Togo is one of these where he knows Partanen is not the cork in a champagne bottle, but he also realizes the situation with the championship, that getting ahead of Partanen here would be good. So a little bit of serpentine from Partanen. I know some people have said before, especially on the iRacing clip, well, isn't he moving? Isn't he weaving? Well, no, he's defending. He's trying to break the toe, and that's what he was doing at Monza. That's what he's doing here today, and it's working. But how long can you keep a very fast Japanese driver away from you? We know what these two can do. There's no real corners that Partanen can defend around the outside with on this, however.
And if you really want to get technical about the blocking stuff, you just got to remember that blocking is a move in reaction. So if you're the lead car and that second place car makes a move to try to get the clean air down to the inside, and you move in reaction to block that off, that is not allowed. However, if you're the lead car and simply weaving down the straightaway, going left, right like a snake, right? That is your prerogative, and that is pretty much you slowing yourself down on the straightaway, albeit trying to break that slipstream. So as long as the lead car is doing it, no big deal. If you're moving in reaction to the car behind you, that's the no-no. See, that was a perfect example. Togo moved over late in the brake zone. Pauli did not react to it. Look at the run that third place has got now. And P.S., Topi Korteniemi almost in slipstream range, 1.4 seconds back.
You told us, and I was waiting to say it, but you snatched it away from us like Topi's trying to snatch away a surprise here. This is probably what Hizada was looking at, is he probably realizes he's happy battling with these 4. Everyone in this group, throw a blanket over. They're happy. Throw whatever it is they've got in Canada. Maybe even, let's just see if we can get one of those jackets that the Mounties wear to throw it over them. But Topi Korteniemi, he has a victory here. He has a few victories. He really could just upset the apple cart. And the last time we had a 5-car battle for a fight here, I want to say it's about Spa a couple seasons ago. You don't usually see this. You don't really call Montreal or Gilles Villeneuve a draft track, Joey. We talked about it yesterday on another track. iRacers love draft tracks. This isn't really a draft track, but right now it's very much feeling like this is what we're getting today.
It's because it has such long, huge straightaways that you do kind of get these draft packs, these DRS trains, if you will. Now, I know we don't have DRS here in these cars, but when you get a car out front that maybe has a half a mile an hour more on the top speed, it can be very, very difficult to get by those cars. And you got my ADD brain running over here with the Mounties and everything. I would love to see Victory Lane, the winner, have to hop up on the horse in the Mountie uniform and maybe eat some poutine up there on that thing.
Maybe I was thinking maybe just I don't know, just get behind the drums and do the drum solo from YYZ or something like that today, or just something to do with Canada. Maybe just have some maple syrup. Mickey Friesen almost gets out of a free wide right there, and that's very wise for Mickey Friesen. Sean Langton made the overtake, but had Sean made a mistake there? It's Kevin Parrish in the black car, Sean Langton's in the white car, in the Nissan-inspired GTP Lotus 79. I know that sounds cursed. It's Mickey Friesen. He's going to try and do this, but he's got to do it around the outside of turn 2. This is tough. Sean Langton's going to hold the inside. They're going to go side by side. Still a lot of overlap. The pull ahead now for Mickey Friesen. He's going to have to do it tough, though, as he comes through turn 3. And Sean says, no, thank you. And that free wide did not work for Sean Langton. He thought he could do it, but they just lost so much time trying to get that car slowed down through the chicane.
Oh, and then we have a problem with Togo Hisada. I think that he just had a hardware issue. He dove off of the racetrack away from everybody, and now he's rejoining. This screams hardware issue, and he knew exactly what happened. Must have reset something, and now he's back on the road. But talk about going from second place to now 2.5 seconds behind the draft pack.
And I tell you what, I wonder, he had to slow down. It's not a meatball flag at the moment. I'm just double checking that.
It's because he cut the corner. That's why he got the slowdown.
I know that he hit the barrier, almost basically the same barrier that Robin Kubica hit when he had a crash. But look at it, 6.4 seconds. Topi Kortenemi, he's just decided, I'll take your place, Togo. He's up in the pack right now. This is this moment here. Very weird moment. Now watch, it just goes. And that, I think you're right. That's a screen going off there. I've got to be a screen or a hardware freeze.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a USB deal, because all of a sudden he just went straight, almost like the steering wheel disconnected itself or something like that. But either way, nightmare for the number 5.
So nightmare for the number 5. Jason Clapper's going to make it 15. And he's no Cody Rhodes, but whoa, he goes into the braking for the Senna S's. And he managed to hold it, and now he's into more battling out there, because Jason Clapper is actually pushing on Daniel Gallis and Gernot Friescher. And Jason Clapper battling Gernot Friescher, that's not words I thought I'd be seeing, but Friescher did not have the best of qualifying out here today, not having the best of times out there as well. Making up some positions, yes, 14, but if you're battling Jason Clapper in the middle of the field, the last thing you want to do is battle Jason Clapper in the middle of the field.
Yeah, he's always going to be a tough one to get past, as he's always trying to work his way forward. So the swap up front, I think, has created a little bit of a different dynamic. You see Jack David Spickett now sitting in second place, but about 9/10 of a second between himself and Pauli Partanen. Craig, you had posted about how fast JDS was here earlier this week. Right now, he's being put to the test because he's about to lose slipstream range of our leader.
Yeah, fastest lap this week in other races. Remember, this is the official series. This isn't a league. They just have their own point scoring systems. If you want to get into this, you get your iRacing up, you get your license up for your oval race, your open wheel racing. You can join this next week. You can join this anytime with the community. So during the week, Jack David Spickett has recorded the fastest lap of the race, a 24.363. We're not there yet at the moment as the fuel starts to burn off. But behind him, again, we keep talking about Jacob Reed credential, former 2-time GP World Tour champion. He knows his way around modern-day F1 cars. And the classics, well, he's trying to battle another champion. And they also realize if they battle, Pauli Partanen is just going to say thank you so much. And he's just going to pull ahead. The gap now's 8/10.
I'm trying to analyze where the speed gain is coming from either our leader or second place. Jacob Reed actually looks to have the most tidy car right now, who's sitting in third place. And oh my goodness, we just had an issue with Topi Kortenemi. I see him with a 0-mile-an-hour speed and dropping like a rock. It seems like he has had an internet issue.
Also, Gernot Friescher's had an internet issue. And very interesting, they got taken out right away. What is going on? This track is cursed for the Lotus 79. Like I said, last time we were here, an internet issue for Pauli Partanen meant there was a moment out there. The role reverses today, and it's Togo Hisada with an issue, and now it's Topi Kortenemi with a issue out there. But we'll keep back watching others, because while those three will just start to regroup and have a freeway dance, Gabriel Martinez still trying to make some moves here against Kartik Pai. driver who's had a really quiet season. And behind them, well, there's Henry Morse as well. It's actually Henry Morse, not Kartik Pai. Pai's had the quiet season. Henry Morse, he's trying to get some moves on Gabriel Martinez. Not been able to at the moment, but Gabri up 6.
And I just want to give a shout out to Topi Kortanyami right now, because it is so tough to have that issue with the packet loss in the middle of the race, because remember, he had a poor start that was kind of nothing to do to his own, and then he had just such an awesome race to get back up into that lead draft pack. He was looking to be one of the fastest cars today, and unfortunately the internet issue taking him out. So big time shout out to Topi Kortanyami. He had a heck of a race going.
Yeah, going up for each as well, making a real good run up the field as well. Jack Davis Pickett, 24.643. Still not fast, but we're getting there. 6.43 will be the 4th fastest time set this week. And Keith Herner's just hit the wall, not the wall of champions. He's just come out of turn 7. Had a little bit of a moment there. Antonio Alvarez also battling as well. We've not seen a lot of the drivers in the back of the field today, but it's love to just see them again. Is he going to do a late break on Matthew Cockerham? Matthew realizes it and says, Antonio, try and slow that down. And that's always tough to try and slow that down. Good job there from Alvarez to make the overtake.
I'm watching our top 3, and Jack David Spickett is all over the back of Pauli Parton, and actually he's going to be trying to make a move down here into turn number 10. He is on driver's left side of the racetrack. Only way you can make this work is try to do an over-under. Third place Jacob Reed leaves plenty of room, but is not enough for Jack David Spickett to capitalize. Now let's watch this slipstream battle, see who's got more top speed. Jack David Spickett, look at this, pulling out of the slipstream, already passing Pauli Partonen, challenging him. He's going to get to apex. They're side by side through the first one, side by side with Jacob Reed through the second. Now the number 2 car has the run on Pauli Partonen. He's going to be challenging drivers left for our overall lead. Pauli Partonen takes it in crazy deep into the first chicane, and we're still wheel to wheel. Jacob Reed's going to have to lose out to that lead, putting the power down.
To lose it, but is he also going to lose that P2? Jack David Spickett is just going to send it in, and they all get back. So all that was all for naught. And I wonder, really, JDS, I know your credentials, I know who you're fighting. Was that the right play? Was that the right play? Keep your eyes on that timing tower, and you see T. Hasada. That's Togo, of course. He's catching. That's just what he would want to see out there. The top 3 battling, because that gap is now under 5 seconds. And that the important thing is the more they fight, with we're coming 8-9 to go, the more he's got a chances. So the times after that lap will be very interesting. They actually all 3 of them, did times in the 25. Pauli almost did a 26. That's a rarity. That's just what Togo needs.
And typically, in years prior, JDS has brought some alternative setups. And typically when he brings an alternative setup, it's more on the high downforce side. And it provides him a ton of confidence and grip in some of these racetracks. However, what I'm seeing here today is the complete opposite. Look at the run here from Jack David Spickett. A poor exit out of the final chicane from our leader allows the Pepsi machine down to the inside. How much is Pauli Parton going to fight this? Jack David Spickett clears him. New leader, number 9 car.
Well, he's not Tom Sawyer, but he's a modern-day warrior, and he's actually made that move. And now we get to see the pedigree of Jack David Spickett. And I'm not going to be starting to say some praises because I'm going to be knocking on wood. Let's not curse the man. I don't want to be the commentator's curse today. But now, Jack, you've defended Pauli Partonen last week so well. What can you do when you don't just have Pauli Partonen? You have the Worcester man, known as Jacob Reed, right behind. This is going to be very vital. And again, remember those times last time out? 25-3, 25-4, 25-7. How about a 24-9 for Togo Hisada? Took almost a second off some of these drivers. 4.5 is the gap now between Reed and Hisada. He's catching. Play the Jaws music. I feel it may be a last lap lunge.
Here's the true test of these setups here, and I just think that Jack David Spickett has taken better care of his tires. He just seems to have a launch out of the corners in comparison to Pauli Partonen directly behind him. And really the only way that you get that power down is either softening up the back end of the car to be able to limit the traction. The power down moment is Jacob Reed tags the wall of champions right there. But right now, Jack David Spickett just seems to have more overall grip, more grip in the brake zone, more grip leaving the corner. And if you can get the launch out of these corners, you're pretty much throwing up the deuce signs to everybody behind you.
And this is crucial. That fastest lap he just set, a 1:24.591, Pauli hasn't gone that fast this week. Fastest lap in racing for Partonen this week was 24.618. I mean, Jacob Reed hasn't raced this week. We've got no information on what he's doing. But the idea that now Jack is doing times that Pauli hasn't achieved this week just makes you think, number one, what are you doing, Jack? Number two, what setup have you got? And number three, what have you got left in the tank? Pauli Partonen with a slide coming out of turn 9. I think he might be having to concede this position.
Jacob Reed's going to get down to the inside there. That was just Pauli Partonen getting up on the apex curve, but Jacob Reed not able to put the power down coming out of turn number 10, and that was crucial because look at the gap now they've got between themselves and Jack David Spickett. Jacob Reed is going to force the issue on the inside of the racetrack. Squeeze Pauli Partonen over to the racing line. Pauli finally gives way, gives the second place to Jacob Reed as he once again just wags the tail coming out of turn number 14, getting ever so close to that wall as Jack David Spickett has officially caught lap traffic. This could be exactly what he wants. If he can break that slipstream range, and especially with a couple of slower cars, he can pretty much say goodbye to everybody else.
Yeah, we don't usually talk about multi-class racing when it comes to Lotus 79, but you're going to have to think that it is. Remember, the blue flag is not mandatory. It's advisory in iRacing, so Jacob Reed's going to have to try and do this. Now we're watching side by side. Jason Clapper is trying to make some moves up the field. Gets it done. It's Sean Langton, who also in front, but get that move done on Kevin Parrish. Up 19 positions today. And now what has Partonen got to try and get through the traffic? This is not what they want to see because technically Herner and Karts, these two lap cars, they are battling one another. But Pauli Partonen's lost a second and a half, and Jacob Reed is also a second and a half. That's going to be tough to try and catch up now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Karts did not give way very well to our leaders, pretty much chopped the nose on all three of them. Especially our second place runner, Jacob Reed, I think got the worst end of it, and now it's ballooned up to 1.3 seconds between Jack David Spickett and Jacob Reed as we watch these two cars. This is Barry West fighting side by side. Watch out for the Pepsi machine. Our leader is going to be coming through.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the leader is just saying, look, I'm sorry, we've only got Pepsi, we don't have Coke here today. And that's fine because Barry and Thomas, they understood the assignment there. They can't really do much about Partonen. He's had a bit of a moment, so they're just going to have to go on. But I love this from Barry. Like I said, usually we see over the shoulder. So we see his monitor and what he sees. Today, this is the first time we've seen it. We've seen the harness. We've seen the Pimax headset and other are available. We've seen what he's doing. We can't see his shifter. There he goes down for the shifter. But it also just gets an idea to also see his head. We see the head movement when we're behind the shoulder. But Joey, that head movement, that's also something that you would do in the real world when you're also trying to look for a wing mirror.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what virtual reality is so good at. I kind of drew the comparison that it's exactly like putting your helmet on when you're inside of a race car. And I've been very spoiled in my life and had the very fortunate opportunity to drive a bunch of race cars. And if you close your eyes inside of that thing and all of a sudden open them up, iRacing does a terrific job if you're wearing that virtual reality. It pretty much feels exactly like being inside of a race car.
Jean-Francois Bosquez probably thinks he doesn't want to be in a race car right now. Not at the best of races. That moment with Andrew Petty earlier in the race, it was a side-by-side contact with this man, and not a lot you could do. They're just hard racing going into the chicanes, and always a tough moment. Trying to catch up to Daniel Gallus out here for 15th position. All too good, and there you go, Daniel having a little bit of a moment. They're going to be going side-by-side, maybe. And also another tap at the wheels there. A little bit of miscommunication, and also a little bit of I probably didn't see where the nose was, and Kevin Parrish having a bad hairpin as well. So 2 there in 2 to Jean-Francois Bosquez.
Nice job there from that number 22 car as we're watching this battle go down towards the final chicane here. See if they kind of duke it out. No, looks like they're all going to tuck back into the racing line and go single file through there. See if anybody flirts with that exit. Looks like we're going to get a replay here of exactly what happened down there, one of those prior laps at turn number 10. Just kind of getting pushed out of the way a little bit. Then also maybe trying to find a gear or struggling with the slowdown out there. I can report Jacob Reed has been flirting with the wall of champions all day long. He's made contact a couple times, and the previous lap, Craig, I mean, he had such a huge slide out of there. He missed the wall. He didn't make contact, but man, talk about laying some 11s out of here.
I think he's really pushing because he realizes what happened. That's the replay. Holy Toledo. And that was a little bit of a slide, and that's a great catch as well. These cars are catchable, and you do have a little bit of a slide on them, but that's not what you want to see. Now, here is the thing right there. Harley Parton and fastest lap this race, 24.9. Jacob Reed, fastest lap this race, 24.6. Chad David Spickett, 24.5. His fastest lap is faster than Toga Hisada. Kevin Parrish having a bit of a moment out there as I was getting the times, and everyone trying to get around. It looks like there's a crash. Oh, no. Just wait, boys. Just wait. No! And that's collected Mickey Friesen. Remember to keep an eye on your relatives, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to rejoin an active track like that.
No, you don't. I'm just going to let that one be. Just kind of a mess down there. But Jack David Spickett right now is kind of in a little bit of a seesaw battle. He had about 1.2 seconds of a gap over Jacob Reed, but now it is closed back down to what is 0.6 of a second. I'm not sure if JDS has an issue out there or not, or maybe if Jacob Reed is just putting together a monster lap time while Jack David Spickett maybe not having the best, but we're going to be coming to 2 laps to go, and we're going to see if Jacob Reed can do anything about this leader.
Well, Jack David Spickett's going to be living in the limelight once again today. And Jacob Reed, did he touch the wall? I wonder, he touched the wall. How much of the wall did he touch? In fact, he didn't just touch the wall. He gave it a kiss. He gave it a drink. He took it out to dinner. And I tell you what, I think he also then left and said, could you take the check? That's a big moment there. What damage does he have? Probably nothing to be substantial. Let's just watch it again, Joey. This is not what a driver wants to do.
No, but I do think he got away with it, right? He just barely clipped that tire wall, and then he barely clipped the concrete wall. Now, if this was real life, we'd be having significant conversations about the damage, but here in the sim, these cars are relatively strong, so Jacob Reed pretty much tossed that one out the window, says, yeah, I've done that every single lap out here, no different than the prior time.
Yeah, but look at that. 124.452. He hit the wall of champions and got the fastest lap. And we know it counts. It was a 0x, not a 2x for contact. He actually still recorded the fastest lap of the race. Penultimate time down the Casino Straight. He's going to have to go with the cards he's been dealt here. 8-9 tenths is the thing. I don't think he's got a chance here, Joey, as we watch Aaron Blair. That could be all she wrote. Jack just needs another 80 seconds of perfection.
Correct. Jack David Spickett, as long as he keeps it mistake-free, he's getting the white flag right now under start-finish, so he just needs to complete one more lap around this circuit. He's already done 24 of them perfectly. He just needs to complete the 25th. And in my opinion, if I'm on the radio to my driver, Jack David Spickett, right now, I'm saying, turn off the mirrors. Don't even look in the mirrors right now. You don't even need to know what Jacob Reed is doing. Purely focus on your brake markers. Put together a clean lap. And plain and simple, the number 2 car cannot catch you.
We're on board with Jacob Reed. This isn't pod racing. This is the Lotus 79s and iRacing. And this is the final lap. And I think he tapped the wall once again. He's got the bonus point for the fastest lap. He's got the bonus point for pole position. He would love a clean sweep, but he has to find half a second right now on Jack David Spickett. He needs JDS to have a bad hairpin, and I don't really think that's going to happen. I say that he's gone wide! Jack David Spickett's gone wide, and this could be crucial, but he's slowed down, and Jacob had to make a little bit of a slowdown, and that could be a little bit of a mistake. That's a little bit of a blessing. He's not looking at the serpentine. He's putting his car in the middle of the track, and he's saying, try me, because it comes like London buses sometimes. But Jack David Spickett, hopefully, with no mistake, comes out the wall of champions and will take the victory. It's 2 in a row for Jack David Spickett, and Jacob Reed will get that P2.
Great drive from both of these front runners. Jack David Spickett, after qualifying in 5th place, was able to hang out in the draft pack and awesomely snag away the race win after taking the lead from Pauli Partanen. Held off Jacob Reed the whole time. Pauli did finish in 3rd, with Togo Hisada just 1.5 seconds back in 4th.
Yeah, that's important, though. Togo didn't lose much time there for Pauli Partanen, but another non-podium result for Togo Hisada there. Championship, that's looking a little bit scary for him now as more drivers come by. We did see Henry Morse try to get past Gabriel Martinez, was unable to, and these are the last of the drivers just going by into the 19th positions. We see Kieran Parrish, Matthew Cockerham, some of the last drivers to come on by, and Mickey Friesen. I think it's going to be Jake Williams, the last driver here today. A race that really, what we're watching the last of the drivers come through. That was one that delivered out there today, Joey. And if you were in some of those battles, you've got to feel a huge relief that now it's all over.
Yes, everybody is very, very happy that they've completed the 25 laps. This is actually the last car right here. This is Jake Williams crossing the line in what will be 23rd position.
Well, let's get to those standings, because it was Jack David Spickett who won the race overall, followed by Jacob Reed. And Jacob Reed set the fastest lap again, and the fastest lap of the whole week as he finished that last lap. Pauli Partanen will be 3rd, and Togo Hisada will take 4th after what happened for him. Gabriel Martinez will be 5th, and then Henry Morse will take 6th. Then it's Kartik Pai in 7th with Timothy Reed in 8th. JPW Ringwood in his first time out in 9th. Aaron Blair in 10th.
And then our biggest mover of the day is in 11th. That is Jason Clapper, plus 21 for the day to finish there in 11th. Dylan Freckleton actually finished right where he started in 12th place, and that's pretty amazing considering he was spun around on that opening lap. So great comeback there for the number 10. John Langton finishing in 13th. Daniel Gallus back here in 14th. Antonio Alvarez back here in 15th. Kirk Clapper, 16th. Josh Brain, 17th. And then we also have Jason Green, 18th. Kevin Parrish, 19th. And Matt Cockrum up there in the top 20.
Go for the last 13 drivers with Jason Kraviak in Mickey Friesen 21st. I got a bit ahead of myself. Jason's then in 22nd. Jake Williams will be 23rd. Simon Steinbill will be 24th. And Thomas Tuber also a lap down in 25th with Art Karts 26th. Barry West will be 27th. Not the best of days for him today. Keith Hearn will be 28th. John Francis Boscott will be 29th. And then Gernot Friescher, he had a couple of moments out there with that internet issue. Finishes 2 laps down in 30th, and then the retiree, Topi Kortanemi, did not come back, unfortunately. Andrew Petty had that crash as well, and Nicholas Johnson was the first retiree out there of the day. Well, we're going to get into some interviews, and there's always one man who we always get to interview, and I think it's only fair because he loved talking about him beforehand. Pauli Partanen is alongside Joey Atterbury.
Well, Pauli, a 3rd place here today. It seemed pretty tough out there to find the speed.
Yeah, I have to say that Jacob and Jack had super good speed. I had really nothing against them, like amazing speed. So when I was at front, I noticed already that those two can just take those corners way better than me. So I was just trying to survive, and yeah, 3rd place. Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but to be honest, I'm still happy because it could have been worse. I know Togo had some problems, and most likely Topi too. So 3rd place is fine.
3rd place is nothing to scoff at for sure. But you know, when I was watching the race, and when Jack David Spickett was able to get past you, it just seemed like he had a lot more drive off of the corner. Is that just down to tire wear? Is it something in the setup that he's maybe changing to get that bite off of the corner?
Yeah, no, actually, Jack had a bit different kind of setup than me, so most likely there was something on it. But yeah, the last corner, he and Reed were able to take it much faster than me. I think it's most likely just because I have bad line there, or I just don't know how to take that corner properly. So I don't think that's the setup. But yeah, maybe they had something in setup that I didn't really catch this week. But yeah, I think it's more driving skill than setup. It's usually like that.
Well, Don't be too hard on yourself. You're always one of the fastest, always winning races out here, Pauli. So it's okay to have an off day every now and then. Thank you so much for coming out and racing, and really thank you for being one of the biggest voices in this community. Is there anybody you want to say hi to?
Well, Jack, you had amazing speed last week win and this week win, so seems like you are really making yourself up on the championship points. So keep up the good work, super nice. And Jacob had amazing week. I think he won the Lotus 49 and the endurance, historic vintage endurance. So that was super close. You almost got it. So amazing work there. And thanks for Topi, just keeping me posted on this week how to make chorus better. And Toko, I'm really sad to see you having I think it was a freeze again with your PC, because yeah, you had a pace to win this race, so super sad about it. But yeah, next week we will challenge each other again. Thank you.
If you want to know why people want to come and race the series, that right there is why. Pauli Partonen, one of our toughest competitors, just went through all of his competitors and said why they were doing awesome. Great job out there, Pauli Partonen. Time for the next one, Craig.
Yeah, well, talking about Togo Hizada, he is here. And Togo, I heard you had a screen freeze in the previous race. Is that what happened there, coming down to the hairpin?
Pretty similar syndrome appeared. And yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, maybe 7, maybe 10 seconds. Completely froze. Yeah, it's so scary. And yeah, but I'm happy with we through the freeze moment with no damage. And yeah, it's actually I'm a little bit frustrated, but yeah, still happy.
You and Pauli are cursed here. Remember last time with the incident that you two had with Pauli's internet, and now you with a screen freeze. It feels like you're cursed. Do you want to get away from this track? Because we're at Portland next week. Are you hoping you can deliver a better result next week?
Yeah, good question. But yeah, to be honest, Montreal is one one of my favorite tracks. So yeah, I hope next time. Yeah, next time. That these hardware issues not occurred, and yeah, I hope the next time I will do proper racing here, because I love this track. I love this rhythm groove of the track. So yeah, pretty sure I'm voting here on the next season.
Well, we hope to see it next season. Everybody loves it. We have to keep it brief, unfortunately, Togo. But it's always great to hear from you. We wanted to check what happened. Togo Hizada, commiserations, but a great recovery into P4.
Thank you so much.
Togo Hizada finishing there. We got the legends there to talk to us. And as I was saying, next week, it is Portland with no chicane here, Joey. Another slipstream here, because that's a very long straight.
Yeah, and that's my home track out here. I've got tons of laps around Portland in the chicane and non-chicane version. So best way to describe this one, it's only medium speed to high speed corners, so you better bring the low downforce.
Oh, it's going to be great. And last time, there was a threat of rain. This time, it's sunny. Just like right here. It's nice and, well, it's dark and dingy. It's a black screen behind me, but you get the idea. So very welcome. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. And if you like what you see, do check out more broadcasts here on the iRacing channel and, of course, Global Sim Racing. Next week, as we just showed you, will be Portland. And don't forget that the clocks are now fully backward for Europe. So we're an hour earlier. But a thank you to Joey, a thank you to Christian, and a thank you to Dougie once again for what we've brought you today. And thank you for joining us. Next week, we are going to see 3 in a row for Jack David Spickett, but 3's the magic number. I think this championship is turning into a 3-car race. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.